we move on over to a report that came out courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp at Fightful regarding, the outlet learned that a pitch was made for a huge opponent for Stone Cold Steve Austin, which Fightful Select was told is Roman Reigns. And they go on to report, we're told at the very least Austin's camp was approached with the possibility of it happening, which was said to have been for, quote, enormous money. In the summer of 2022, Fightful reported that Austin was approached with a deal that wasn't as appealing from a financial standpoint. Those that we spoke to in WWE claimed that they had not heard back on whether the more recent offer was accepted or not, and another source indicated that another big name was offered to Austin in the months prior. So, Steve Austin's name has definitely, everyone sees linked to WrestleMania this year. And this is obviously going to be, speculative, but if you are looking at Roman Reigns, and let's put The Rock aside here out of those plans, and you are looking at the different options, where does a Steve Austin land for you, Wai, in terms of balancing these cards? And is that a direction that, it's obviously a huge match. Would it be the ideal direction if you don't have that Reigns Rock program to do?
I think from a marquee standpoint, from the standpoint of promoting a match for the people that don't normally, tune into a WrestleMania, the type of people that aren't subscribed to Peacock that might pay attention to this particular match and choose to, pay however much they're charging for it these days. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's, to me, feels like it's probably like the next best thing to, if you're not going to get Dwayne Johnson this year, to a match that could achieve that sort of status and that sort of difference. Obviously, as a wrestling fan, as somebody who watches this stuff week to week, I think the long-term story of Cody going for Roman Reigns is going to be the most satisfying from a storytelling perspective. But WrestleMania is unfortunately not just about satisfying the year-long story, not anymore at least. It's about trying to get people to subscribe to Peacock. And as much as, I love Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, if we don't get Dwayne Johnson, I don't know if it fits the bill as much as Steve Austin, if you have a hand in Steve Austin to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a different path. It's you could certainly argue it's the biggest match that they can do. And some might even include a Rock Reigns match, like what an Austin means in that kind of a profile for the show. And yeah, it certainly is interesting when you are shuffling the deck and where some of these big names land. But I would say for Austin, it's a short list of opponents that you have at your disposal that are big money matches and are also going to be ones that, Austin is going to want to go out there and have the best performance with possible. And Reigns would probably check off those boxes for a lot of reasons. It's certainly a big match. And I think a byproduct of this report is it's going to have speculation for even as early as the Rumble this Saturday of, kicking off an angle or at least a hint in that direction, because you do have to get from A to B where you have to book this battle royal on Saturday with the winner set up with Reigns for WrestleMania.
Right. Yeah. So, over the past week, it's been reported that Dwayne Johnson has decided that it's too late to decide. That unless he is, according to the Observer, unless Dwayne Johnson is keeping this utterly, secretive, it would seem that it's looking unlikely, but it doesn't seem like the door is, or at least that it's 1,000% that you can bank on it. But it's looking like it's a pretty ambitious schedule that Dwayne Johnson has coming up in the near future with the XFL and everything else. Yeah. So if if you're Nick Khan, if you're Vince McMahon, and if you're Paul Levesque,
Vince McMahon's only here to orchestrate a sale.
Never mind.
He doesn't even know WrestleMania is happening this year.
It's good point.
Focused on a sale,
of course. He's got other things to worry about, I guess. If you're either of those people, if you're at the board of directors in the WWE, you are maybe in your mind you've been playing around at least with the suggestion of The Rock versus Dwayne Johnson. Losing Dwayne Johnson,
I'm sure that's the match Ignace Lahoud really wanted before he left. Maybe that was it for him.
That's
Maybe
why.
that was. It's like
Dwayne's not here. I'm gone. Yeah.
Manjeet Singh was like, F this.
But like, you don't have a Dwayne Johnson. This card like really suffers. If that's sort of like the target that you set, and you suddenly don't have somebody on the star power level of a Dwayne Johnson on the show. Again, Cody versus Reigns, at least from that standpoint, from the standpoint of an executive, it's probably just is not as satisfying. So, like in that sense, I can really see them, wanting to consider somebody like a Steve Austin to fill that role. If not Roman Reigns, like, is there another opponent for Austin that you think would be just as good?
I was, a while back we were talking about this, and I thought like this is your chance to do your Austin Cena match. But when I saw that,
who does that serve afterwards?
It's a big match. It's not who's like Reigns and Austin really serving at this point. Like, can Reigns get any bigger than he is at the moment? Can you expand?
You can always get bigger.
Well,
and at least Reigns, like he's going to stick around for a few more years. We'll probably, like still have a few more years.
Is he going to stick around for a few more years?
Well, okay, fine. He's on it. He might be towards the tail end, but then you can still have him come back repeatedly. He's still on a delayed cycle
how's
that
John
Cena
ending?
is on.
How's that match ending with Reigns and Austin?
Reigns and Austin?
Yes.
This match. Okay. Well, Roman Reigns. What do you mean? Like, who's winning?
Yeah.
It's going to be Roman Reigns. Yeah. I don't think Steve Austin should be pinning Roman Reigns.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, I would look at Austin as one where I think he's that figure that you do want to have like the really feel good ending to, and beating him at the end of Mania. Like, it's certainly the big match to do. If that's what you're looking at, in terms of general interest, like that is going to trump a Cody Rhodes quest for the title.
It could be feel good even if he loses.
You could also do, it's, Austin. It's all in like what is in this guy's head at this moment is. Once he kind of tore the Band-Aid off last year, now he has gotten through the mental hurdle of I retired and I was done. Now I've done one. I felt good about it. Is this going to be a scenario where, he feels he's got a handful of these left in him? He's not just looking at getting through Mania like he did last year with Owens. Now it's, where we're waiting up until the week, the day of to figure out like what this guy is going to end up.
He's probably watching that Muda card and saying, wow, they're like, how old is Austin this year?
God, he is. I'll pull up the age. He's not quite Muda age, as I recall, but not far off. He might be right near it. Let's see.
Yeah. Anyway,
play the age game. What is Austin?
I'm gonna say 55.
He's 58, so he's 2 years younger than Mudo.
Well, listen,
and both have knees that are his knees are probably not as bad as Mudo's, but that's low praise.
I know this guy was
knees are not great.
This dude was on a Bima TV yesterday, paid his fee, and watched Jinsei Shinsaki take that bump from the apron through it over the barricade through the table, and he's like, you know what? I'm only 2 years older than this guy. I could do this stuff. So he's probably inspired. And you know what? 50 is the new 20, everybody, in pro wrestling. All these 50-year-olds are doing like crazy spots these days. So,
well, I'll tell you who's not is Kurt Angle. Did you see him getting around tonight? That's, I know the guy's off double knee surgery and such, but man, like...
I'm intrigued by Austin versus Roman because I'm very curious to see what that match looks like. Like this Roman Reigns, tribal chief character has been working, to his advantage. Like I think really like slower paced matches that rely a lot on his like, in-ring acting. And I think that's almost like a really nice little canvas for somebody like a Steve Austin. You rely on Austin selling a whole lot more, which would be very different from the match that he had with Kevin Owens. It's interesting.
It's a big match, and again, there's no confirmation that this is happening. Just that it's been pitched. It's an idea that is out there.